Steve Bannon, because they know he helped write the blueprint for the American reboot. And even the Wall Street Journal, Fox News, more and more, it's getting anti-Trump, going after his allies. Manafort raided bank records. We're going to be getting to that with Roger Stone, his former business partner, on the other side. And he's been subpoenaed for the same non-existent Russia records. So when you don't send in the non-existent records, it's like, give us your documents when you were in communication with the Easter Bunny. And I'm like, I am not in communication with the Easter Bunny. We're going to have to get a warrant for that then, because we happen to believe you've been talking to a little furry friend. It's got a cotton tail. Trump nuke boast, bombers ready, North Korea no joke, Guam in the crosshairs, world of worry. Mattis, world needs to understand this could lead to end of regime. Oh, yeah. Understand this. You can't just shoot or cruise missile or particle beam one of their missiles on the tarmac, on the launch pad, on the gantry, because North Korea is then going to attack South Korea and Japan, everybody else. They're completely whacked out of their minds with a crazy obese penguin running them. The demonic hedgehog. If we do have a nuclear war and it ends human life on Earth, I mean, the hedgehog killed us. It's what Hitler looks like, too, a little pot-bellied guy up there. But, you know, at least Hitler actually had, like, the Congressional Medal of Honor from the Germans. He had the Iron Cross First Class. Kim Jong-un was in a Swiss boarding school until he was 18 years old. His brother, you know, got caught by his other brother trying to sneak into Disney World in Japan, so he had him with nerve gas. Can't make this up. This is really happening. This is President Trump last night responding after Kim Jong-un, the hereditary dictator of North Korea, given nuclear weapons by the Clintons, threatened to preemptively nuke the United States again. Here it is.
North Korea best not make any more threats to the United States. They will be met with fire and fury like the world has never seen. He has been very threatening beyond a normal statement. And as I said, they will be met with fire, fury, and frankly, power, the likes of which this world has never seen before.
Corporate fake press has Merkel running around and others trying to act like Trump is escalating things and that Trump is bad. Trump didn't give the fissile material, the reactors to North Korea. The Clintons did, with a bipartisan group out of the U.S. Trump didn't give them the missile secrets. The globalists did. Trump didn't give the Russians atomic weapons in the late 40s. Leftist in our government did. The scourge of the planet. Leftist, collectivist. And now we have seen the armistice, the ceasefire since 1953, July 27th. And here we are, looking at Kim Jong-un threatening to strike Guam with medium-range missiles, with nuclear weapons, threatening to attack the U.S., and now he's got missiles and warheads that can hit us, according to Pentagon reports. The question is, would they re-enter properly? Would they deploy? This is a big deal. Now, it's multifaceted. You've got McMaster that's kind of been pushing for preemptive strikes and saying that, which then gives North Korea the excuse to escalate. McMaster wants that as a political distraction from the things he's doing. And you've also got a lot of deep state actors that are in communication with North Korea that are empowering Kim Jong-un to believe that he can intimidate Trump and embarrass him. And he's being goaded, from my sources, into this. Now, it may be a quadruple double-cross game, but we know the Jimmy Carters, the Bill Clintons, the Hillary Clintons, the globalists of the world are in constant communication with his top generals and with the North Korean dictator. More so, maybe even than China. North Korea was left there as a strategic detonator used by all sides as the crisis between India and China escalates and as they openly threaten war with each other. But at Infowars.com is the headline. Two of Britain's biggest newspapers tell the public to prepare for nuclear war and to find their local fallout shelter. I'm not saying I think this is going to happen. I have 4 children. I don't want war with North Korea. But if he preemptively fires weapons and attacks somebody, he has to be decapitated quickly. And Russia and China have to be told in no uncertain terms, do not get involved in this when we do this. And they've been signaling they're going to stand down, but don't want it to happen. I don't want it to happen either. But if we go to war, it's got to be regime change, and it's got to be devastating. And, ladies and gentlemen, we can't conventionally take on North Korea. They've got million-plus man brainwashed army. I'd say it's 20 times worse than Iraq. Cult-like following. They will attack 100,000 pieces of artillery, Katyusha rockets, the whole 9 yards. You're going to have to hit them with nuclear weapons. And I've talked to a bunch of experts. They agree. You're going to have to hit the entire DMZ with not just conventional, but high-powered atomic weapons, hydrogen bombs, you name it. They can roll out the radiation weapons, directed energy weapons. They've got high-powered ones that will kill whole cities. And I'm sad for the slaves in North Korea, but if that's what's going to happen, we're still at war with North Korea. So coming up at the bottom of the hour, I'm going to walk through all of this, the latest. Now's the time to be praying. Now's the time to be praying, because deep state is manipulating. The Steve Pachenik's been to North Korea many times. He's been involved as one of the undersecretaries of state in Asia with the State Department and the CIA, obviously. And he's going to come on. He knows some of the top generals over there. He was just in North Korea a few years ago. And we'll see what he has to say. We're going to get Joel Skousen, a World Affairs Brief on. We're going to talk about it all. But joining us now from D.C. is Roger Stone. We have seen his former business partner, Manafort, who was the head of the Trump campaign, raided. Roger was the former first campaign head of the 2016 Trump election campaign. FBI conducted pre-dawn raid of former Trump campaign chairman Manafort's home. And what's amazing is the Washington Post admits he'd already turned over these very documents. So this is done, in my view, I haven't talked to Roger yet, for optics of, oh, look, a grand jury, indictment coming. Oh, see, they're criminals. Oh, raids. It's all done, SWAT team raids in the early morning. So you must have, it's kind of like they raid Amish for giving their neighbors cheese. They have a SWAT team and shove the old Amish man down on the ground when he didn't have a criminal record. His daddy's daddy didn't have one. Nobody's got a criminal record. But we're just going to shove you down in the mud on camera for the jury, because the jury thinks, well, the FBI, the authority figure, shoved the Amish man down for giving his neighbor cheese that was an FBI informant. That's a real case. Manafort has voluntarily produced documents to congressional committees investigating Russia interference in the 2016 presidential election. The search warrant indicates investigators may have argued to a federal judge that they had reasonably Manafort could not be trusted to turn over all the records in response to a grand jury subpoena. Well, what if there are no documents? And that's why they had to do the raid, for optics, and they admit they've run into a brick wall. Now they're saying it's criminal. Was there any checks, or did he lie on IRS forms? It's now a giant dragnet run out of the District of Columbia. The swamp has given birth to a grand jury with subpoenas going out. I'm told that I may be subpoenaed. I know the Federal Elections Commission wants me subpoenaed for my Russian funding. They're saying you buying our products are Russians. They think you're morons. They're coming after the press. They're bullies. And I'm proud to stand in the Second American Revolution against globalists that are 1,000 times worse than King George III, and we're winning. This is because they're failing. The stock market's up. Our military is being rebuilt. Our veterans are starting to get taken care of. Our borders are getting secured. Christianity is being defended again. They don't know what to do. InfoWars contributor Roger Stone launching his own syndicated program coming up in early September, The War Room, with Roger Stone, Mike Cernovich, and our own Owen Schroyer. You've heard my breakdown. Is it accurate? And give us your latest intel. Have you talked to Manafort? This was kept under wraps for a few weeks. Is it being brought out now to smokescreen for the fact that we have a Soros known operative now in General McMaster?
Well, Alex, your report is essentially correct. Jackbooted thugs authorized by Robert Mueller kicked down the front door of Manafort's home proceeded to the bedroom, kicked down the door to the marital bedroom, seeking documents that they had never requested, mundane bank statements and documents that would certainly have been turned over. Now, Mr. Mueller is extremely well acquainted with the law firm that represents Manafort, but no request was registered. The reason for this raid is to distract from the fact that prosecutors in the Southern District of New York are now questioning close associates of Hillary Clinton and are seeking an interview with Hillary and her husband regarding the activities of the Clinton Foundation. Evidently, Jeff Sessions suddenly woke up. Somebody woke him up. And therefore, I think the Manafort raid is made to distract from the fact that justice may be about to catch up with the Clintons. There is nothing, I am told, in the records that were seized that is anything beyond the mundane. This is part and parcel of the Mueller effort to frame Donald Trump or his associates based on constructing a case which the Democrats, should they grab control of the House in 2018, would use as a phony basis for impeachment. That's the game that is afoot.
Expanding on that, is that breaking news dealing with Sessions beginning to go after Hillary herself?
It has been intimated on the net, but I have now confirmed from law enforcement sources in New York that there is definite movement, and I will have more to report at 2 p.m. Central Time today on InfoWars. I'm still gathering data on this and the latest on McMaster's coordination with George Soros and the Soros mole in the Trump White House, Fiona Hill. More on all of that later today on InfoWars.
Roger, this is like an action-adventure movie we're now living in, with North Korea and the Clintons arming them, and now the Clintons still someone in power through this corrupt shadow state, battling the American people and President Trump. And the people, it seems, though, are seeing right through this. They're running all these new hoaxes that he's down in the polls, which our research shows isn't true. They're starting to abandon a lot of the Russian narrative, though, and are moving, as you predicted 6 months ago, to just general obstruction of anything, crimes, bounce checks, anybody in the government, having a government employee shine their shoes. I mean, just like with Netanyahu's wife for cell phone bills or whatever. It's now taking on classic dragnet, complete witch hunt run by people that Trump has fired that are on Mueller's staff.
Well, I think you're exactly right, Alex. The problem fundamentally is that the Obamas still run the U.S. Justice Department. In the recent trial of Maricopa County Sheriff Joe Arpaio, a key endorser of Donald Trump, the Justice Department monitored his communications with his attorneys during the trial. They communicated improperly with the judge during the trial. And all of this, of course, is payback for Sheriff Joe's support of Donald Trump and his claims that Barack Obama was not born in the United States, which he has sought to pursue. You would think that the Trump Justice Department would dismiss this case, but there is no one who works for Trump working at Justice other than Jeff Sessions, who very sadly appears to be asleep. I think he's asleep, actually. Instead of pursuing the Clintons, who certainly deserve to go to jail, we have the entire front line of the NSA under Barack Obama wiretapping and surveilling at least 30,000 people. Brennan knew, Rogers knew, Valerie Jarrett knew, Susan Rice knew, Ben Rhodes knew, but there's no one kicking in their doors at 5 o'clock in the morning and arresting them. Barack Obama is running the U.S. Justice Department under the Trump presidency. It's extraordinary and, frankly, quite sad.
And he's moved in down the block in a lavish armored compound with walls to run the operation. And before he left office, when President Trump was president-elect, Obama bragged, and his surrogates bragged, we're digging in. We're even putting more people in positions. We're even finding people that don't have a social history online that are our operatives, and they even put spies in. And as you said, even the New York Times now admits that they're out going to government employees to recruit them as moles. Some word is money's being paid. This is an espionage operation against our own government, and it just gets more intense, more serious as no one is punished, and more emboldened and more brazen. I mean, I've just never even imagined in a spy novel something this insane. So where is it going now?
Well, I think there's every possible effort being made to silence anyone who would expose what's going on. This lawsuit that Obama and his allies filed against me is an outrageous abusive process. It's a tissue of lies, and I would be unconcerned about it, except for it's going to be heard in the District of Columbia, where the chances of my getting a fair judge or a reasonable jury are non-existent. It's harassment. You see, Alex, if they can distract me and tie me up fighting this phony lawsuit, that's time and effort I can't spend trying to save the president from the cabal of globalists who have settled in around him. So I really think that's the goal. We are in for some very tough weeks ahead. Mueller has no concern for the law or the facts. He is hell-bent on taking down the president. And sadly, General Kelly, General McMaster, and perhaps General Mattis are prepared to sit back and let that happen.
Roger, clearly, if they're able to remove Trump, which I don't think they're going to be able to do if we stay on air and stay focused, they're going to go after everybody else. They're going to try to sew up the political system because they know they've lost the people entirely. The public knows that they've broken the social contract. And I like the fact that the president's really gotten tough on Sessions and they've reconciled now and that we're seeing some movement from him. But I agree with Congressman Chaffetz and others. I don't want press conferences. I want indictments. I mean, you've got Obama and his people on the news when President Trump was president-elect saying, we're going to sabotage, we're going to block, we're going to stop him, we've been spying on him, we're giving all the info to the media. And then Trump gets into office and goes, that's illegal. And they go, we never said that. And we've got hundreds of articles and statements where they said they did it. It's open and shut indictments. We think of espionage by some foreign power. This is the most common form of espionage is a coup, like we see in Latin America or Asia or Europe. Here, our coups are just more silent because we don't do that in the West. And it's a classic coup by deep state with comedy shows acting as news bullhorns out there cheerleading and even targeting you and myself for destruction, cutting off our sponsors, trying to put us in prison. I would expect that, you've talked about this, I would expect a SWAT team raid. I would expect you to get one because that's what they do. We've sat around. We went out on my ski boat a few weeks ago and we had the discussion over a beer. We said, I wonder when we get the SWAT team raid, because we know that then escalates into them killing us because first they want to demonize you as a criminal and then have somebody kill you, car wreck or carjacking, whatever it is, or you're found dead with a hooker and, heroin. This is the kind of crap they do, assassinate your character ahead of actually killing you. So I just want everybody to know I'm not a loser if they kill me. I'm a winner. We change the world. And don't take my death as a loss. Take it as a martyr. Move forward. We are going to defeat these people. We are the winners. We are the free market. We are the Americans. We are the patriots. We are the underdogs. And we are winning. Roger Stone.
Alex, I say again, the key to the president's survival is the FISA court declaration at the end of the Obama administration, which indisputably proves that Obama's NSA was illegally surveilling up to 30,000 Americans, which include Roger Stone, Paul Manafort, Donald Trump, and in my opinion, Alex Jones. And General McMaster and General Kelly have worked very hard to keep the very existence of that report away from the president. because were he to order the prosecutions, his tormentors are defeated. Obama will have a hard time running the anti-Trump campaign from a prison cell. Instead, unfortunately, Attorney General Sessions is too busy chasing marijuana smokers and now chasing the Clintons. While I appreciate the sentiment, the Clintons are no longer running the Democratic Party. This is an Obama operation. The Clintons are a vague embarrassment to the Democrats. Yes, they should go to jail for their crimes, but there's plenty of time for that. Right now, they have to gut the centerpiece of the opposition, which is Obama. McMaster reported.
And if the president was really surrounded by hardline patriots like George Washington had, they would already have moved against these traitors who are openly in sedition against the republic and the American way of life. They are the opposite of the American way. They are the enemy, period.
Talking to patriots in Florida, they are planning to march on Mar-a-Lago the first time the president goes there to demand the firing of McMaster. They will line the motorcade route. They will make it very clear to the president that he is being misled, he is being lied to. McMaster works for Soros. McMaster reports to Soros. McMaster has inserted a Soros goon, Fiona Hill, and a fellow traveler neocon named Allison Nielsen. McMaster does not support the Trump agenda, but these things are being kept from the president. The president is unaware that General McMaster gave Susan Rice a pass on her political espionage. The president is unaware that he extended Susan Rice's national security clearance. The president is unaware that Samantha Powers, the UN ambassador, was unmasking hundreds of Republicans and engaging in political espionage in violation of the Constitution and the law. General Kelly has successfully kept that information from the president. Now, it's heartening to watch Sean Hannity, who finally figured out who the deep state is. He's clearly been watching you and I on InfoWars because he's now repeating our shtick. Sean, get your own script. Your heart's in the right place, but you don't need to keep repeating at night what we report on InfoWars.
Roger, we had a private discussion about this, and I normally agree with you, but he's seeing the same thing. Lou Dobbs is saying it. Colonel Schaefer, we're just saying the same thing. And yes, I use terms like clear and present danger and things, and they use it. I'm glad that they've looked into our research. The Washington Post has demonized him, saying, he's becoming Alex Jones. That's good. I know that you and him had a beef behind the scenes. He should have you on. They'd probably fire him. Come on. We'll be right back with a few more comments from Roger that I'm hitting the North Korea news and taking your calls. By the way, I've gotten so tunnel vision on North Korea and on the Manafort FBI raid and all the insanity going on that I haven't even told you about some of the guests today. Adam Curry, the most famous DJ ever. I mean, it's true. It's true. And, of course, we've got Steve Pachenik, who was the Undersecretary of State Department for Asia. He will be joining us to get into North Korea, a place he's visited quite a bit, including recently, and that whole crisis. And then, of course, Roger Stone's hosting the fourth hour, but he's going to get it spanking because he works with InfoWars now officially, and he doesn't have his external mic. He's going to be hosting it from a hotel room, which is okay, but we're on all these radio stations. I begged him privately, so now not just woodshed about the not worshiping Hannity properly, I'm joking, but now this. Seriously, though, gallows humor. Adam Curry is with us 30 minutes to the next hour, then Steve Pachenik, and I'm going to open the phones up for the first 30 minutes of the next hour to talk about North Korea. They're saying this is the closest to midnight we've ever been with nuclear war. I'm really concerned about it. Adam, you were pretty excited when you walked in here and saw Roger Stone up there.
Of course.
Is he not a living character?
He is a legend, and he's really big here on the screen in front of me. Roger, how you doing?
I'm excellent. Alex, I don't have an external mic, but as the Chinese say, one picture worth 1,000 words. I do
the Chinese, huh? No, they made that up.
Oh, my gosh. Hey, seriously, Roger, your take on the whole North Korea situation?
Well, we finally have a president who doesn't draw a line in the sand and then sit back helplessly while our adversaries cross it. I think the boy dictator has picked a fight with the wrong guy. Maybe he was used to Obama, rolling over on everything. Trump will not roll over. He will do what is necessary to preserve world peace and to stop these maniacs from incinerating the globe. And should the president continue to make serious progress on improving the economy and demonstrate his commitment to a tougher-minded foreign policy, he will get reelected. A terrific column by former San Francisco Mayor Willie Brown last week, saying to his fellow Democrats, "Wake up, you idiots. He's on his way to reelection."
Roger, other tidbits. I mean, clearly, how would you define this massive escalation? As just that with this optics raid for bank documents that Manafort had agreed that they wanted to turn over. And, of course, the FBI has digital records going back decades. Under Know Your Customer, they're in all the bank records. This is just ridiculous. Purely optics. And I don't see the American people buying into it. What do you think?
Alex, it's harassment, just like the lawsuit I referred to earlier that they filed against me. This is all meant to be harassment. No one has yet proven a scintilla of evidence that Manafort colluded in any way with the Russians or that anyone else in the Trump campaign did. But they need to distract from the fact that they were involved in wholesale political espionage in violation of the Constitution and the law. They need to distract from their ongoing crimes, the outrageousness of the prosecution of Joe Arpaio, the ongoing secret grand jury seeking an indictment against Julian Assange, the journalist who runs WikiLeaks.
And by the way, I mean, you mentioned this earlier, but what's the word? Because I've heard from other sources, when they've said it publicly, they're floating my name around, too, in the magic indictment hopper. I mean, are they going to indict me as being a Ruski?
We had a meeting last night of the 45 group, which is a secret group of Trump loyalists. We have pledged to do whatever is necessary to avert this coup. And there is some discussion that you are on a hit list for government raid, for harassment. I'm on the list. There are several others that are mutual friends of ours. So you're in good company. But yes, I think that, Alex, you've been targeted because you're the tip of the spear, because you are riling people to stand up against the machine. And they would love to silence you. One way, as you know, that they're seeking to do this is through their manipulation of the internet, the manipulation of the algorithms, they've gone from denying that, I want to talk about with Adam Curry, to just exploding it, because it's just really intensifying right now, and it shows they know they have nothing left but to try to shut us up.
You had the right idea. When did you start calling things InfoWars? 20 years ago? 25 years ago?
About 20 years ago.
You had the right idea. That is exactly what we're in right now. Information wars, and not so much mainstream media, but the algorithms. The algorithms that place things, that grab your attention, that focus you on certain...
We're fighting AI.
Well, I will not give it the moniker of artificial intelligence. It's not artificial intelligence. It's more like skip logic. You know, if someone likes this, then you're going to bring that into them and show this over here. And they have pools. They have pools.
No, I agree with you. But the AI in it is that humans are interfacing with it. And then they're able to program us with the information. And we are sentient. So really, it's an interface.
Yeah, I think AI is just tossed around really easily.
Sure.
I mean, there's no artificial intelligence. These are real people. There's a real movement behind structuring information.
So it's more of an art form.
It's totally an art form.
You're
Absolutely.
right.
Yeah. And there's a lot of people doing it.
Amazing. Stone, thank you so much. You're going to be on in about an hour and a half. I really appreciate you being a stalwart, not backing down in the face of all the bullying. It is getting intense.
Alex, always great to be with you, and we will have some more exclusive breaking news here at InfoWars at 2 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Eastern.
Absolutely.